Hi there, welcome to I Alone Fly Tarot. I'm going to do a tarot card reading for Libra energy, and we're going to read it from a couple different perspectives because not everybody harnesses high vibe Libra energy. And we all tap into Libra energy about what our truth is and what we think is just and fair, and life's about learning lessons, and some people still have a lot of lessons to learn about what it means to be in relationships with other people. They could be bossy or controlling. They could be their way or the highway. They could be emotionally detached. They could be defensive. They could be more materialistic, narcissistic. The whole thing is to listen to your intuition about people. Not everybody's motivated by love. You can get hurt doing love, so some people aren't going to do it. If they start to feel like they're headed towards the danger zone, they'll get out. Some people don't want to do love. Some people, love isn't what drives and motivates them. And other people harness a more high vibrational Libra energy. They're more balanced within themselves. They've worked through some of their fears and their insecurities and their pride and their ego and their more immature self-centered nature. Some people are just and fair, treat other people the way they like to be treated. But you have to get out of your ego and be even willing to learn lessons in life. Get out of your defensive, immature, self-centered nature. And some people haven't. And we need to see the truth because the truth sets us free. But Libra can be represented by the Two of Swords. Some people don't see the truth, don't want to see the truth, want to stay in denial of the truth about themselves and others. And we can keep staying stuck if we want. We have free will. We can sit in heartbreak all of our life if we want. There's other shadowy people in the world that aren't very just, aren't very fair, aren't very truthful, aren't very loving. We can stay in heartbreak all our life if we want. We have the free will to manifest our life. If we wrap our brain around this game of life and deal with the truth, treat ourselves in a just and fair manner, see the truth that some people aren't very just and fair or emotionally mature or whatever, and we wish them peace and we move on. So I kind of look at this card as the overarching reason for the reading, surprise visitor, but the emotional figures can represent how people think and feel. Sometimes we have to be in relationships with people, to find out the truth of who they are. And so since these are the walls of like a foundation, sometimes it takes time to really know emotionally what really drives and motivates people. Some people right now could be having a surprise, good or bad. You can find out some people are willing to be more authentic and loving. Other people could be finding out that some of the people in their life, they kind of have a shadowy, more energy hidden away. And some of those people kind of might see the truth of that, or people in their life. Behind that, we have the main male. And the way I read tarot is the feminine figures can talk about how we think and feel. The masculine figures can represent how we present ourselves in the world, how we take action in the world. I kind of view this card as Aries Taurus energy. Some people are going to be bold and brave and walk the talk, and some people are already doing that. And because some people are doing that, it might help other people be more authentic or bold or brave or confident. And at the same time, there's high vibe people in the world being loving and encouraging to themselves to be more bold and brave and confident and walk the talk of who they profess to be. There's going to be other people in the world that are trying to stop people from doing that. You should make your life more about me. You should make your life more about ego or image or indulging me or making it more about me or more about you. Shadowy Aries Taurus can be people. Their philosophy of life is different. Their truth is different. What they think is just and fair is different. And some people are bossy and controlling. Some people are full of themselves. Some people, like, if their emotional, more authentic nature starts to come out, they tell it to get back in there, male or female. So What's going on in Libra energy? We have the karmic cycle, the wealthy man, and the main female. And the reason that came out is because of the ending. Well, we've all went through endings in our life, things that didn't work out the way that we wanted, and we've all been heartbroken before, right? Some people, the masculine cards can just represent that some people choose in their free will to operate more from their egoic nature, because we're either operating from our more worldly egoic nature, which we all is considered presenting ourselves, taking action in masculine energy when we go out in the world, but people don't really know the truth of how we think and feel. So this can be anyone, male or female. Some people decide, I'm going to operate more from my ego. I'm going to turn my back on my more emotionally intuitive, creative, inspired nature. I'm hurt. Things didn't work out the way I wanted. Now I'm going to operate from my ego. And it's kind of like trying to, like, I'm not going to let my more emotional nature out to play in the world anymore. And other people, I view the wealthy man as Capricorn energy. Shadowy Capricorn energy is kind of represented by the devil. You know? But in high vibe Capricorn, I view as the King of Pentacles. We learn lessons in life. We grow, we heal, we mature ourselves. When things don't work out the way we want, what lesson did we learn from it? Life's all about learning lessons. From all these different people we come in contact with in the world and our own life experiences, we are meant to learn lessons from that and to help get more clear about what our truth is and our truth isn't. Some people experience an ending because they were more in a more shadowy, worldly way of living life. That was their truth. Kind of view the karmic cycles with the broken heart there as the Three of Swords, which is Libra energy. Some people, once something ended, they felt they could go live their truth, and their truth could have been shadowy. You know, sometimes we can have people in our life, and because we have certain people in our life, we kind of, you know, Libra is represented by the scales of justice. I have to maintain balance within myself because I have these certain people in my life. They would not like it if I were to be more authentically myself in a shadowy way. But then if some of those people aren't in their life anymore, they moved away, they get out of a relationship, they get divorced, well now, boy, I'm going to let my true nature out to play. But their true nature is more about themselves. And for some people, every time they go through something where it doesn't work out the way they want, the more and more they get in their defensive nature or their egoic nature. And the more they had the free will to learn lessons and listen to their intuition, to grow and heal and mature themselves, and some said, nope. And I also view Libra, represented by the King of Swords, can be a person's self-protective nature. Nope, that didn't work out. That's it. I'm done. No more connecting in with my emotions. From now on, it is going to be more about me. And I'm going to make life more about me, indulging myself in relationships. No longer going to do love. I can get hurt doing love, not doing it again. Other people weren't willing to give up their dreams just because something didn't work out. They were sad. They've known people in their life that were bossy and controlling or manipulative or hurtful or unkind, superficial, shallow. Those people saw the truth about it, that those people in the death card weren't in high vibe, life-giving energy. In their free will, I see the truth. They're not very loving. That's like the death card in shadow. And I see the truth of it. And I'm not going to let other people who are hurtful or unkind keep me from believing in my dreams. I just see the truth about them. And I'm going to listen to my intuition. And now I've learned, you know, maybe when I got in that situation, I was kind of turning my back on my intuition. And we've all got lessons to learn about listening to our intuition. You know, I think our intuition was given to us as a gift, just like bats have sonar and all the animals have their unique things. Like porcupine can throw its quills, and a skunk can release a scent, a stinky smell. We as human beings were given a gift, which was our intuition, but we have free will. So sometimes we ignore it. No, I think I want to go do this. Oh, I think this is going to be great. I'm going to go do that. And we didn't listen to our intuition. Well, we learned some valuable lessons. I better start listening to my intuition, because I think our intuition, because of the fact that people can present themselves as being more just, fair, stable, balanced, mature than they really are, our intuition was given to us as a gift to help navigate in this world, because we are kind of flying blind in the world, and we need to use, it's like our sixth sense in our gut that, I don't think you should do this. I don't think this is a good idea. You should go home. But we all got some lessons to learn. And if people learn the lessons and start listening more to their intuition than their lust and their greed and their pride and their ego and their codependent nature, then the death card can talk about death and transformation. You've kind of shed an old way of being, an old way of viewing life, naive, gullible, or if you were the more immature person, you kind of learned that didn't work out. I better wrap my brain around this game of life and grow up, And I need to see the truth about other people. So some people are going to operate more from their defensive, self-centered, immature, egoic nature. Other people are learning lessons in life, and they continue to learn lessons throughout their life. And another thing about Libra energy is learning to feel balanced within yourself. You could view the King of Pentacles and then the main female as being like a good mother, father, coach voice within your own head. We have the free will to belittle and berate ourselves and be cold to ourselves, be hurtful and unkind to ourselves, bossy and controlling of ourselves. And then we can have other people in our life who are like that. But it starts within us. And that transforms our whole life. If I align with kind of more self-limiting belief ways of feeling about myself, that's kind of what I'm aligning with within myself, and I can go out in the world, and because then I could reject more just and fair and nurturing and loving people, because I'm really not aligning with that within myself, then I can kind of get in relationships with people who are happy I feel that way. Oh, you're in death energy, you haven't learned to love yourself? Perfect. Let's get in a relationship, let's get married. You should work here. And there's people out there in the world purposely kind of using their emotionally intuitive nature in a shadowy way. Just like there's scam artists in the world. They spend lots of money and time, energy, and effort to try to scam people who don't know the truth that there's people like them in the world. And they're just looking for someone who's heartbroken, who maybe hasn't learned to stand up for themselves and defend their more loving nature. You don't want to stand, you haven't learned to stand up for yourself? You don't love and believe in yourself? Perfect. Let's get in a relationship. And some of you did that, right? Some people got out of those. The next cards, we have two cards not showing themselves, and the reason it came out is because of the coffin card, which is like the ending card or the death card in tarot. This one, though, does say Leo energy in it. And so Leo energy can either be also represented by the sun. We're either in dead energy, operating more from our ego and our fear and all those things, which isn't like fertile soil to give birth to new things, right? And we'll all repeat old patterns of ways of doing things until we've been in high vibe Leo energy, represented by the sun, been illuminated to the truth. That if I keep doing things the way I keep doing it, thinking I'm the boss, this way of viewing life is the right way, and this is the just way, and this is what everybody's told me is how I should live my life and what I should do, and it'll make me happy. And I say those things because Aries and Taurus can be about I'm the boss, and then our philosophy of life and being stubborn and no, I'm going to keep doing this. This is my philosophy of life. This is my truth. And we can keep repeating the same old patterns over and over, and it probably isn't going to work out the way we wanted again. When are we going to put a death to our more egoic nature? There are rules to this game of life. And if we're planting bad seeds and aligning with our more shadowy energy, we're going to attract in, and there's always going to be negative energy around, trying to stop us from giving birth to anything new, to keep us dead, unawakened to the truth, not loving and believing in ourselves, not harnessing high vibe Aries, Taurus, Leo, Capricorn, Libra energy of aligning with truth and love and justice and fairness and standing up for ourselves and freeing ourselves, because shadowy Capricorn represented by the devil, putting in the work and effort to transform ourself, our belief system about ourselves and the world, how we view ourselves, how we view others, and transform our whole life, making the free will choice. I've put an end to my more worldly, egoic nature, and I'm choosing to be in high vibrational energy of the sun. Love, inspiring and loving, offering myself, being my own best mother, father, coach, voice, offering myself love and compassion and forgiveness, offering it to other people in my life and in the past, so I can let it go, and I can. Kind of the death card being like Scorpio. Scorpio is about those deep emotional attachments that we have to philosophies of life and ways of living life and to people, and the emotional confusion and all the contradictory different thoughts we can and feelings we can have, conflicting, like opposing opposite feelings we can have towards people, working through all of that. But it takes a lot of work and effort. And we have to even be in fire sign energy of Aries to be inspired to even want to do that. And Aries is on the opposite side of the zodiac wheel from Libra. And I think, you could look up all the other zodiac signs and see what the opposite sign is. And, we kind of go out to the edge on things because we have these lessons to learn, like, how much is too much? How far is too far? How much Libra, living more from my mind than my heart, or my defensive nature, versus my more creative and passionate nature? How much is too much, where I kind of get too caught up thinking it's just and fair to be about me and my passionate nature and my ego and indulgence? How much is too much? And it's all about trying to learn to balance ourselves, to maintain balance within ourselves, so we quit kind of going out to the extremes. But we had to go out kind of to the extremes. Oh my God, I love them. And the rest of our life fell in the toilet, right? Oh my gosh, I'm going to make my life about being so defensive. Other aspects of our life went into the toilet. I let my ego in my life. I'm not even living my authentic life. It's like I'm a superficial, shallow, emotionally vacant person, which is like what shadowy Scorpio can be about, and shadowy Libra. I'm trying to control everything so much and try to create this illusion so that people view me a certain way because I want people to like me or be in a relationship with me and get the justice that I want in the world, that they've kind of lost complete being in touch with their more emotional nature, because they could be fearful of their more emotional nature because they're confusing. Scorpio energy does talk about we're these emotionally complex human beings. I hate them. I love them. I don't ever want to talk to them. I hope they call me tomorrow. I love them, but they drive me batty, and and it takes time. But for some people, they so much tried to control themselves, tried to control other people in work environments, friendships, and relationships. And other people could have grown up with people that were like that, and that caused them maybe not to be more bold and brave and confident within themselves. Those people could have been more superficial and shallow, more materialistically focused, and everybody had to make their life about conforming to the world and having a certain image and status. That nobody got much experience at being more authentic. That's like high vibe Leo. Because everybody was operating from their ego for some people. But anyway, we can get in these more mismatched relationships, and we're going to come across people that got some lessons to learn in life. The King of Pentacles can represent, in workplaces, in our families, in our communities, people we've dated, people we could have married. And sometimes we get in relationships and we could, when we're younger, we're kind of pretty fired up about these things that we want. And we can want to be in relationships, we can want to get married, we can want a job, and we can be heartbroken because something else didn't work out the way we wanted. And we can all have been a little more driven by our ego than listening to our intuition. And then, we kind of get in these more mismatched relationships. And we could think that everyone has kind of detached from some old ways of being, just like we've detached from some old ways of being. If you're not a more egotistical or immature or, high vibe Leo is about tempering your ego and your more beastly nature, And also high vibe Scorpio is that I have emotionally detached from some old ways of being and people in my life and ways of viewing life. I've transformed, and we can kind of think, because we're moving forward in new friendships or relationships or jobs or whatever, that we tend to think that other people kind of have learned some of the same lessons as we have because of the way they present themselves in the world. So again, the masculine figures can represent males or females. It's just how they present themselves in the world. And, it can be that they present themselves as these loyal, stable, inspired by love type of people and these emotionally mature people. And then we find out they're not. It's that's not the truth of who they are. They operate more from their ego, where other people have put an end to their more defensive, some more shadowy ways of being, to be more authentic and loving and warm, inspired by love. But, it can take a while getting to know people to kind of realize you harness these energies differently. And it's the short illness in the house. And the house card, I also view as Aries energy, because in tarot, the Four of Wands is Aries energy, which can talk about our own foundation. Some people are hiding that they're kind of in dis-ease. They're haven't learned to love themselves, are more emotionally shallow and superficial, have some things that kind of tempt them or manipulate them with the apple. Maybe this kind of looks like a younger female, so male or female emotionally, and the red hair can kind of signify aligning with their more shadowy nature, harnessing a shadowy kind of fire sign energy. And other people are kind of exactly the opposite. They've put an end to aligning with, and they've kind of put their shadow nature more to sleep, because their more creative, inspired, intuitive, loving nature is kind of what they align with in their life. We have our dualistic nature, our more immature, shadowy nature, our more hopeful, believing, loving nature. One or the other of them is in the driver's seat of our life. And some high vibe people have learned these lessons to not be more about their emotionally immature nature of self. And they have learned these lessons, and it's kind of interesting. This coffin is closed, this one is open. And the way that could be read is that because of some things that happened in people's lives, it kind of gave them, again, the free will choice. How are you going to take action in your life? And some people could have taken some time, maybe in Libra energy, of the Two of Swords, which is what Libra energy represents, and the Three of Swords. And then we have the Four of Swords. And I'm kind of wondering where we're going to go here next. Okay, I don't really see it here, but kind of makes me think of the Five of Swords next, which can be here. We have the Thinking Man, or the Thoughts card, which makes me think of the Thinking Man, which would be like King of Swords energy. And this is a masculine figure. So again, people taking action on their truth. So we have the Two of Swords, the Three of Swords, something ends. We either ended something, someone else ended something. People might take some time to kind of heal within themselves and think. It'd be kind of like the Four of Swords too, is where you kind of reflect on, am I going to heal from that past pain and heartbreak? And then we have the emotionally mature woman, which again could be being an emotionally mature person. Am I going to learn the lessons from this life experience and take action on the truths that I've learned? Where did I need to heal and grow and mature myself? What about the people I was in relationship with? Where do they need to heal and grow and mature themselves? Am I going to keep making my focus more about me emotionally and the world? Or these things I like to indulge in to make myself feel better? That's what some people are going to go do. They decided enough of this. I've been reflecting on the truth. I decided I'm going to still be more about me and these things of the world, because I kind of view the Queen of Pentacles as Taurus energy. What is my philosophy of life? What is my truth? And some people are like, no, I'm still more about me, more about the world, maybe look to getting in a relationship to make me feel better. And they could turn their back on dealing with the pain and heartbreak or self-limiting beliefs that could have been the reason why a relationship and things didn't work out the way they wanted anyway. But I don't want to see the truth of that. Nope, it wasn't my fault. No, I don't have to heal and grow and mature. Or I'm not going to see the truth that the people I was in a relationship with have some healing and growing to do. I still want to be in a relationship with them. I'm going to ignore the truth that if I keep moving forward with them in a relationship, they're still emotionally haven't done this work. We can all kind of like to play that role in people's life, that if I'm a loving, nurturing person to them, I'm sure they'll heal and grow and mature themselves. Well, we can keep hoping that. But are we staying in denial of the truth that, people got their own free will? Some people could be pretty headstrong, pretty stubborn. And they don't plan to change anytime soon at all. This could be how they live their life. I live more from my mind than my heart. I do not want to deal with the truth. I do not want to deal with my own past pain and heartbreak. I do not want to see where maybe I'm kind of immature or bossy or controlling. This is how I want to live my life. And if you're not willing to get in the box and stay in the box, kind of reminds me of the Barbie movie when she was going to go get in the box and she's like, oh my gosh, I remember this. It's been such a long time since I've been in the box. And they were starting to strap down her arms and then she made a run for it. It's like, oh my gosh, I can't do this anymore. Some people want other people, if they have things, ways of being, that in their mind they think is just and fair. If I have ways of being that kind of manipulate me, you should kind of indulge me in my poor behavior. I think that's just and fair. If I'm more superficial and materialistic or more about myself, you should stay in a relationship with me, maybe because I'm attractive, I'm charming, I'm good looking, I have money, I'll have sex with you, whatever. Anybody can have their own philosophy of life that makes them think people should want to stay in a relationship with them, even if they're not very loving. It could just be, we have these things of the world. Don't you want to be in a relationship? I want to be in a relationship. We should be in a relationship. I don't care if it's not based on love. We would look like we're moving forward, like we have justice and fairness, that we have stability or security. And same way with jobs. You should work here, but you're kind of bossy and controlling and intimidating and immature and manipulative. This is a really good job. It's good for your ego and your image. You should stay here. And then we have to do that thinking within ourselves. I could stay in that job, friendship, or relationship. It does, in the Queen of Pentacles, that again can be where we're kind of more tempted and inspired in our fire sign energy. We want a job, we want friendships, we want relationships. Basically, but some people know if I keep moving forward in this relationship, in the despair and the sadness, emotionally, maybe I feel like I can't let my more authentic, creative, inspired, high vibe, Libra, Aries, Taurus, Leo nature out to play in the world. Because the other people don't like that. Because they don't do that. And they haven't worked through their issues that make them view life the way they view it. And if they're sad, they want me sad. If they're not getting to live their more authentic life, then they don't want me to live my more authentic life. And I say that because high vibe Leo is about shining your authentic light and being your authentic self. And some people are never their authentic self. Their authentic self has been buried. Their ego and their worldly nature runs their life, and they make their life more about doing all these things that look the right ways in their mind. Shadowy Taurus is like all these rules and regulations. You have to look like this. You have to act like this. You have to wear these kind of clothes. You can't go there unless these other people are there. If you go there and other people like of the certain way of being aren't there, then you should leave because that would look bad for you. And, it's just all this bullshit. And high vibe energy is like, you know what? I'm just going to live my authentic life. I'm going to be an emotionally mature person who is who I say I am in the world. And because I'm aligned with truth and justice and love, and I'm balanced within myself, I'm not indulging poor behavior in myself or others. I'm not in shadowy Leo energy where I'm trying to create an illusion about who I am and manipulate people and tempt people and control people. Shadowy Leo or Libra, Leo and Aries and Taurus could be about trying to manipulate and control people. Shadowy Scorpio. Other people are like, you know what? I'm going to go out in the world and treat people the way I like to be treated. And I'm going to be encouraging and authentic and supportive. And if there's people in the world that want to move forward with me in that way, wonderful. If there's people in the world that got a problem with that, which believe me, there will be. Because you kind of are inspired to walk the talk and stand in your truth and kind of not indulging poor behavior in yourself and others. Enjoying the world, but enjoying it from a place of balance where you don't make certain things really important, like, oh my gosh, yes, I have to keep up with the Joneses, and oh my gosh, I gotta wear this, and I gotta look like this, and I gotta act like this. And some of those other people really put a lot of work and effort to do that. And when they see you're not doing that, some of those people don't want to be in a relationship with you. If you're not playing the game of illusion, and if I can't manipulate and control you, and you're not manipulated and controlled by the same things I'm controlled by that manipulate me, I might want, if you're a romantic interest, I might be attracted to you and want to be in a relationship with you, but you freed yourself. You're not willing to play that old game anymore? Get in a relationship with me and stay in a relationship with me more out of your fear and your insecurity and your pride and your ego and your lust and your greed and codependency? Shit. You know, high vibe people are no longer hiding themselves kind of like behind their ego or other people. They've freed themselves. They've transformed themselves. They've healed. And now they are, so that would be kind of like the Five of Swords, where I could have been stuck. I could have gotten myself in some situations because I wasn't listening to my intuition. It didn't work out the way I wanted. Could have repeated that many times because we'll keep repeating old patterns until we are illuminated to the truth that the only person I can change is me. So I'm going to do this work, and Aries energy is about the self. Why do I keep doing that? What is my philosophy of life and my Taurus energy? Why am I drawn and attracted to certain people? Did I listen to my intuition? No. I need to start listening to my intuition. Check, check, check. Do I try to change other people? Because kind of viewing the thoughts card now as like a Five of Swords card, the fives are about change. I need to see the truth. When I meet people in the world and they seem like they're being authentic and emotionally mature and I'm attracted to them and they're stable or they're grounded or just or fair or whatever, that when my intuition tells me they're not who they say they are, or they do just have a lot of things that manipulate them, and if those things don't manipulate me, you know, how long am I I can be loving and encouraging and supportive to someone from a distance and being a friend. But of course we didn't know those lessons earlier, so we got in relationships with them and we married them. You know? And then it's always hoping that they'll be inspired to do this work within themselves, and in Leo energy, kind of see the truth within themselves that's kind of not healthy or mature or something, or just where they need healing, just like we did. And then we can stay in a relationship for a long time. Kind of like, have they come out yet? No. Okay. Have they come out yet? No. Okay. And we sit here in sadness and despair. But the whole thing is, you know, there's some people that never planned to change. They created an illusion that this is the type of person I am. I'm motivated and inspired by the same things you are. But they were hiding behind their back that they have these unresolved issues they haven't dealt with. They could have decided to let their more emotional nature out a little bit in order to get someone to move forward in a relationship with them. But then it's always trying to control the situation, because some people aren't just willing to listen to love and intuition to guide them and trust that based on the lessons that they've learned. But if they didn't ever learn these lessons from the past things, all they know is I've dealt with other people who are bossy, controlling, manipulative, deceptive, immature, blah, blah, blah. But it's like they haven't maybe so much up in their head and fearful of it, they're turning their back on listening to their intuition about different people. Not everyone is like everyone else. But I do think the people who are most afraid of people being kind of deceptive and manipulative are the people who live more from their mind than their heart, who are creating an illusion, that are not motivated and inspired by love, and they don't let their more authentic nature come out to play in the world. and they know they're creating an illusion, then they're very afraid that other people are creating an illusion. Shadowy Leo energy. And then how differently do you act in a relationship if you're kind of creating an illusion? High vibe Leo is being authentic and honest, loving, warm, encouraging, healing, offering love and encouragement to others to heal. And some people like to play that role in people's life. I like people to view me as this emotionally mature, loving person. I view myself as an emotionally mature, loving person. I can get in relationships with people who, just like the high vibe people do, how, sometimes empaths or, really compassionate people can get in relationships with people. But it's kind of this life experience of coming in contact with all these different people is that there's these kind of subtle differences that drive people. And the reason some people can get in relationships with people is, again, because you kind of think they're a lot like you. And in a lot of ways, they seem like you, and they can be loving and nurturing in a way, and, but again, it could be more out of ego. Look, I made this person kind of quit being bossy or controlling. Look, that was because of me. Look, this person was kind of being immature and reckless. And, the difference is I don't think high vibe people are driven and motivated by that. They really want those people to move through it. And then they want to move forward and everybody work through their pain and heartbreak and kind of go on this adventure and have this new beginning. But shadowy people, it could be more ego-based. And then what happens if the people that they're in a relationship with do kind of are like a true counterpart? Oh, I don't like that. I kind of liked it better when you were heartbroken and sad, and I seem like this emotionally mature, stable, grounded, just fair person, and you should want to emulate like me. And then if they do kind of get to where it's not a more imbalanced relationship, so same way with, say, empaths and narcissists, it's an imbalanced relationship. An empath is giving a love and nurturing and support to someone who's quite shadowy, hoping one day it'll get to be a more balanced, equal give and take. And even the narcissist or quite shadowy people could view themselves that they like to play that role in people's life. It's just that when the people in their relationship kind of get to where they could have healed and grown and matured themselves in the ways that they needed to, because we all have room to heal and grow and mature and self-learning beliefs and to be more confident within ourselves and be more comfortable in our own skin and more willing to put ourselves out there a little bit, when we can get in relationships with people who seem to be maybe more balanced than we were when we got in a relationship with them, more stable, more stability in their life, more confident seeming. But the thing is, a lot of theirs could have just been an illusion that they create, but they really could be, just as heartbroken and fearful and codependent or insecure as we could have been. But then you do that work within yourself, well, then they kind of don't like being in a relationship with you because you are kind of ready to move forward in life differently. And in order for them to move forward in life with you differently, then they have to do this work within themselves. And then they would have to kind of be willing to come out of their shell a little bit and be more authentically themselves and quit hiding kind of more behind their ego. And for some, that's when the relationship ends. It was one thing for you to grow and mature and heal yourself, but now with me kind of in my ego, male or female, of my certain status or image or whatever, and now you want me to work through some of my things? I think not. And then they'll turn the back on the relationship to go repeat this pattern all over with someone else because it kind of feeds their ego. Look at me, I'm the stable, grounded, just, fair, loving person. They view me like this type of person. And it'll go that way until the people in their life kind of work through some of their issues. But while it was like a way to indulge himself in a relationship and control a relationship. Because if we were to get on the same page and we all move forward, well, then we're going to be stepping into unknown territory. Being bold and brave and confident, no longer following a template, no longer repeating an old pattern. Now we'd have to maintain balance within ourselves, take the lessons we've learned and listen to our intuition, and kind of go on this adventure, which is kind of Aries energy is represented by the Fool card. And that would be going into unknown territory where I have to let love and intuition guide me. And that's when it's kind of revealed that some people aren't willing to do that. And they like to repeat this old pattern. And so that's why in everyone's Scorpio energy that's dealt with people like that, it's really confusing because a lot of those people you did view as very nurturing, loving, supportive people, and in a lot of ways they were. But when it got to be where they had to deal with their own issues, that could have been when maybe, shadowy Aries that anyone can harness is kind of, and shadowy Libra, especially combined together, is like, and Taurus, I have this way of viewing relationships. I think this is just and fair. This makes me feel in control. And I didn't ever think that I was going to have to change. I thought you needed to change, and I'm glad you changed. But now we should do this, like forever. And that is dead, stagnant energy. It's like I want other people to change and grow and heal and mature to a point, but not too much. Because then I can't, control things. I would have to go with the flow where, So for some of you could have dealt with something like that. Some of you could be in the midst of something like that. Some people always were a more just and fair person, kind of motivated and inspired, where periodically they kind of look at some of the things that they might keep buried beneath the surface. That's kind of Scorpio, where I have some things I keep buried beneath the surface. And periodically I kind of realize how those things are kind of bothering me more. And periodically I look at what I keep buried that I don't really want to look at, and I work through it, and I kind of think about my philosophy of life. Well, why do I think that way? Who put those thoughts in my head? Are those my thoughts? Are those other people's ways of being? Or I'm projecting on other people? And am I living, am I letting things manipulate me? What is my truth? Am I going to stand up for my truth? And, because so much of it is just up in our own head. And some people in relationships do that work within themselves, and other people don't. And that could just be a difference that you find out. You can be in a relationship with people for quite a while, and then you could kind of start to see that there is some things that manipulate them. You might try to subtly, and being loving and encouraging to see if they kind of see it. And some of those people... No. I refuse to shed light on the truth that maybe in shadowy Taurus energy, maybe I am kind of stubborn or full of myself or more materialistically driven or think I'm all that and people should indulge me in my poor behavior or something. And that can be when some people realize... it's kind of like someone's true nature maybe more coming out, And sometimes you're in a relationship, they have something that happens in their life that they decide, I'm not hiding my true nature anymore. If I was in a relationship that seemed more about self-discipline, that's high vibe Leo, and being a good leader where I take other people who are affected by my decisions into consideration. I have done that long enough. I'm done. It's more about me and going indulging in these things of the world. And that's kind of when people see people's true emotional nature, which is kind of shadowy. And there could be other people in their life that are sad too. It's like, I had an experience with someone that I'd known for years, and it was just kind of different when you kind of found out, like after 10, 15 years, that something that, kind of a way of viewing life or philosophy of life or whatever, and then you find out, oh no, I just like said those things or agreed with those things like because of those people. And I was like, it's just kind of weird, like, wow, I feel like that's wild. I can't believe all this time. But I guess she would have been afraid that I would have told them. But it was just weird because, you kind of, if there's certain things that, you have in common, and maybe you think you both enjoy those things and doing those activities or whatever, and then you kind of find out that they don't at all. It's just like, oh, it kind of maybe used to be something you thought was a shared kind of commonality or common interest, and then you find out that it wasn't. And I was like, oh, okay. I mean, I wouldn't have really cared, but it was kind of weird to find out that, just that they weren't who you thought they were in a way. And it's like, not like I didn't trust them with other stuff, but it kind of was maybe an emotional building block that you had for a foundation, and then kind of realizing that wasn't there, whatever it was, whatever you could make that. There could be some people right now going through a difficult time within themselves, with other people in their life, people thinking about what is their truth, maybe having to kind of see the truth. Some things could have come up, other people can have things happen in their life. Other people can be moving forward in life differently. Then that can make other people kind of question, well, why do I live my life the way I live it? And why do I do what I do? And then some people could be sad because the way they viewed themselves, Leo sun energy. We could all view ourselves being a certain way. Oh, I'm this just and fair, and I'm not materialistic, and I'm not egotistical, and I'm not manipulative, I'm not superficial or shallow, or I don't have a drinking problem, or, whatever your thing is that you think about yourself. And then if someone kind of comes along that kind of makes you question how you viewed yourself, can you still be that? But other people can be more that, And then it's kind of like someone can just be more balanced, more emotionally mature, more bold and brave and confident, less caught up and consumed with these things of the world. And then it's like, I didn't really think I was either, but they kind of illuminate I am. And then it kind of makes me curious. That's high vibe energy, is kind of being curious about, why am I not? I used to think that I viewed, and some people will be sad because it really challenges them to really think about their belief system and their philosophy of life and what really drives and motivates them. And it could kind of illuminate to some people that I am not willing to do that, and I am not willing to move forward. It could just be, if I were to move forward in life differently, I would have to speak my truth, maybe to a workplace, a friendship, a mother figure, someone I'm dating, someone I have been dating, someone I was thinking of marrying, someone I am married to, and whatever it is that they have to contend with all these things within themselves. And some people just aren't willing to do it. And then that can kind of make them sad because I kind of always thought I was this kind of person who would be more bold and brave and confident and speak my truth and stand up for what I believe in. maybe, like people can even have, things happen at work, and they could have thought, I would never tolerate somebody being rude or unkind or harassing or whatever, and then, but they don't want, if that's someone who's maybe more in a position of authority, male or female, or a bully, our own shadow nature can be like a bully to us, belittling us, berating us. When are we going to stand up to our own shadow nature and let it quit bullying us and keeping us up in our head and in our fear? And then we can have people in our life who could know that maybe they can use money to manipulate us, or their relationship, or the love that people have for those other people to manipulate them. Or like, if you go live your life differently, I'm going to turn my back on you. See, all these cards are turned to their back to this person. If you're more inspired to not make your life about these things that we make our life about, we're going to turn our back to you. And people got to do that within themselves. Some of those people will overcome. Some of those people won't. We don't know. All we can do is us. And we do us. It's like, I went through it. I spoke up my truth. I stood up for what I believed in. I was sad. I would have liked it to work. It didn't work out. I stood up for what I believed in. And now some high vibe people are being a leader in the world. High vibe, Aries, Libra, Taurus, walking the talk. And some other people like to think they were those kind of people, and they know they're not. They're more caught up in how people view them, being in their ego, or not willing to admit they made a mistake and had lessons to learn. They're not a fallible human being. They have an image to protect. They don't make mistakes. Okay, well, the people who are... You got to get out of your ego to admit that you've had lessons to learn. And high vibe people have learned those lessons. They're out of their ego. They're speaking their truth. There could be people, like I say, who would like to be in a relationship with you, but maybe they got themselves tangled up in something. And in order to be in a relationship with you, they'd have to get out of those relationships. And it's like, I'm not chasing anyone. I'm just speaking my truth, living my life. You do you. I don't want anybody coming towards me in shadowy energy. What's coming up for people who harness some high vibe Libra energy that they might not see coming? The Queen of Wands. Why? Because of the Queen of Cups. So again, the queens can talk about how people think and feel because you have been illuminated to the truth. The truth is love is the answer. Love is what frees you from things that manipulate you. And not staying in denial of the truth, illuminating the truth, working through, putting in emotionally that work and effort to work through the emotional confusion of it. People, so I view the Queen of Wands as Leo energy. People who are inspired to be just and fair people are just and fair. People who are inspired to act with character and integrity, act with character and integrity. People who have learned lessons in life know that you are supposed to be authentic, not trying to manipulate and control and intimidate people. Love is supposed to be just and fair. And if you have some people in your life who aren't being just and fair, aren't dealing with their own issues, are trying to manipulate people, even turning their back on people to make people sad to get them to maybe do the relationship the way they want because they are unwilling to change, then high vibe people see the truth of it. I'm going to let you go enjoy your life with someone else being in that energy. Am I sad? Yes. But in high vibe Leo energy, and my Taurus energy, and my Aries energy, and my Libra energy, and my Scorpio energy, I'm going to give myself, high vibe Leo, I'm going to give myself the things that I wish you would have given me. And I'm going to heal. And I'm going to learn the lesson I was meant to learn from this. I do not want to repeat this pattern again. I did learn some valuable lessons. It forced me to do this work within myself to figure out why I would stay in jobs, friendships, and relationships like that. And it all could have been part of the process for me to get more balance between my own Libra Aries energy. I can be attracted to people. I can want some of these things of the world. Am I willing to turn my back on my creative, inspired, loving nature and live a more emotionally shallow, superficial life? No. And I was willing to stand up for what I believe in. And if those people didn't want to work through those issues with me, then my dream couldn't come into reality with you anyway. And I see the truth of it. I see you harness your Scorpio energy different. You might be more caught up in the world or yourself, or more emotionally shallow and superficial, and don't want to be in a more deep, meaningful relationship. And I do. And I'm bold and brave enough. High vibe Scorpio is like going on the emotional roller coaster of life. We're emotionally complex human beings. I want to feel the highs. I want to feel the lows. And everything I go pursue isn't going to turn out the way I want. I'm not going to be a fool. I'm going to get to know people. I'm going to listen to my intuition. If people show me and I intuit that their foundation isn't healthy, even though I would like to do that, even though I'm sad not to do that, my deep emotional nature for love and justice and fairness, I can't keep that locked away. And I'm going to listen to that, and I'm going to keep moving forward with the people in my life who do work together with me like that. Now, there could be some people in the world, a relationship can end, we can move forward with other people. And then what if someone in our past gets out of a situation? Well, then some people, or you're just out in the world and someone comes along that really seems to be aligned with your truth. What do? We all want to feel like we're people who act with character and integrity. What is just and fair? What about the people we are in friendships and relationships with? They could certainly be sad. If we're in relationships with people who are just fair, authentic, loving, encouraging, we probably, have to let some things be a missed opportunity. Are we going to be tempted in our more worldly nature, lustful nature, greedy nature, self-indulgent nature? So as you're moving forward in your life, you're always there can be people from your past, your present, and your future. Some of those people are going to be shadowy. They would like to be the next person to indulge in a relationship with you. And you need to listen to your intuition. People can present themselves. I've learned these lessons. I'm just and fair. I'm sad. Blah, blah. And it's just to get to know people, speak your truth. The more you stand in your truth, keep maintaining balance within yourself. There could be a part of you that would be tempted to want to take action, but you're more emotionally mature, I deserve justice and fairness is going to stop kind of your more immature nature from being the ones who get to take action. We have got to protect our more. So again, it's the difference. I talked about people who are emotionally defensive. There's one thing to be open and authentic, just, fair, treat people the way you like to be treated, but you don't let your more hurtful, codependent nature, or my desire to be in a loving relationship or something, lead the show. Where other people, it's kind of like, that can be what drives and motivates all their decisions, because They haven't learned to be more balanced and loving and nurturing to themselves. So they are always looking for something to be the answer to their problems without them ever being the answer to their problems. But then some of those people get in relationships, and because they haven't dealt with their issues pop back up again, which they thought they were magically going to go away just by getting a new job or a new friend or a new relationship. And then the cycle happens all over again. It's like, until they deal with those issues. So, are people being authentic? Do people seem to be connected in with their emotions? Do they seem to being truthful? And and the people who don't, I think you'll be illuminated to the truth because you've learned to listen to your intuition. And I think as you move forward in that energy, there are going to be people that are going to want to work together with you in friendships, work, whatever, because you are an authentic, warm, loving person. You are who you say you are. You're not trying to manipulate or control people or being petty and competitive and junk like that, right? And people sense that. And everybody's kind of been around people who aren't like that. And if they feel they can let their more authentic nature out to play with you because you won't abuse it or take advantage of it, those are people that are going to stand up and defend you. Just like you would stand up and defend them, being that type of person in your life. What's coming up for some people who might have a more worldly, shadowy Libra energy? We have the King of Cups and the Five of Pentacles. Why? Because of the Five of Wands. So, the King of Cups can be people who, male or female, again, kind of operating more from their ego nature, self-protective, defensive nature. I will wear my false mask. I will create this illusion. I'm this loving, emotionally mature, balanced, inspired person. Like all four of the energies. And that's how they want to keep moving forward. Why? Because they have inner conflict in Five of Wands, Leo energy of change. We're either operating more from our ego nature, our false self running our life, or we're more authentic. And some of the people that are more worldly and shadowy, in Five of Pentacles, Taurus energy, that is their philosophy of life. This is the best decision. This is how best to feel balanced within myself, stable within myself. And everybody does what they think is best at any given moment in their life. We'll justify our actions. Some people just aren't willing to be more authentically themselves, and we just need to see the truth of it. Might it cause them a lot of inner conflict? Because they could want to do things differently, but no, that's not practical and logical, and I've got to have this certain image in the world, and I need people to view me a certain way, and I have inner conflict about letting my more emotionally vulnerable nature come out. Instead, I let my more worldly emotional nature, my more shadowy emotional nature run my life. And because of that, they could always, have people in their life that would like them to move forward with them, are trying to inspire them to move forward. And eventually some of those people decide, I'm going to move on. Because the Five of Pentacles moves away from the Four of Pentacles, which is holding on to this old way of being. I do not want to detach from this old way of living life or viewing life, feeling safe and secure within myself, self-protective, or being more about myself, or whatever. I have a lot of inner conflict about change or being more authentic. And eventually other people move on. And some of those people right now could have other people in their life that are sad, but those other people, if they feel like they want to be indulged in their more competitive nature, manipulative nature, competitive nature, I don't want to keep moving forward with someone like that. And then the people who might end up staying in a relationship with them, Could be other people who have inner conflict of believing in themselves and believing in their dreams, and they could be going through a period of feeling left out in the cold. And if this person is someone who presents themselves as a emotionally stable, balanced, loving person, you know, people could get in that relationship as a place to heal, hoping that it will move forward. But I just think as time goes by, as they try to move the relationship forward, the kind of more worldly, shadowy people are like, oh, sorry, yeah, I'm doing this. If you want to keep staying here and do this, you can. And if there's people in their life that are kind of willing to stay in a more emotionally shallow relationship, everybody's free to live their life whatever way they want. And some people will, because they have inner conflict of having a new beginning. Just like some people stay at a job with people who act in these shadowy ways, but they have a lot of inner conflict or something about, or maybe made some mistakes in their life that make it difficult for them to maybe go get a different job, right? And if you got one job where someone's willing to keep you employed there, it's hard to move forward, and then people have this inner conflict. But anyway, we'll leave it there, Libra energy. I wish you peace, love, and joy, and we will see you next time. Bye-bye.